It's your boy, Yakov here, with more tales of horror and abject fear. I've got some friends with me tonight. We've got Stoneclaw.
Hello.
We've got Doro on the line.
Howdy.
And most importantly, we have the man of the evening, Jake, with his own spooky story.
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing fantastic, and it's great to have you here. I heard you have a Bigfoot experience, which are probably my favorite experiences.
Yeah, they're my favorites too.
Was this a male or a female Bigfoot, first of all, so I can know if I'm supposed to be attracted to it during the story?
Don't be a bigot.
It was a male, I believe. I didn't
Okay.
see any breast on it.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, milkies.
All right. Well, give us like a time and a place here. Give us the set and setting. Let us join you in the moment.
All right, so it was about 8 years ago. I was 16. I was still in high school. And this is in southwestern Ohio, kind of like about an hour to the east of Cincinnati. I live in a really rural area, and here in Ohio, deer hunting's always been real big, and I used to bow hunt all the time. So I live out about 2 counties over from Cincinnati, and there's a big forest behind my house, and I used to go back there and hunt all the time. Yeah, so I was using this tree stand that wasn't mine. I just found it. And went out there before sunrise, like normal when you go deer hunting. And I had my bow with me. I only had, I think, 3 arrows with me. And I wasn't really planning on getting anything. I didn't prepare or anything. I was just, I was 16 and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get me a deer.
Yeah.
So I walk out there, I get in the tree stand, and I sit there for a couple hours. Nothing's happening. Don't see any deer. So I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm zoned out. I'm probably thinking about some hoe I went to school with or something like that. And I hear walking behind me, something big walking. And the tree stand I was up in, I think I was like 15 feet up in the air. And there was a dried creek bed behind the patch of land I was
Once
on.
again, the creek beds. Now, this is very, very interesting. This is the second interview I've done in a row about Bigfoot where there's the creek bed. And obviously, the creek bed is a classic trope of Bigfoot encounters going back to at least the Patterson-Gimlin video. We were theorizing that maybe those are like obviously it's easier to find animals around water, but are they so simple that it's just like wait by the watering hole for a Bigfoot to walk up? Or I don't know, or do they follow the creek beds? What is it about creek beds? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely an interesting parallel.
Would you say they eat fish?
Well,
Maybe he's doing some
they're
fish.
supposedly omnivorous, and that was brought up on the last interview too. Yeah, that where that sighting was, there was known to be like clams and stuff in the creek or the river.
Yeah,
whatever it
see,
was.
this particular creek bed, it's pretty much dried out. There's like small pools of water, but they were nothing more than like a couple feet deep. Not even really, like up to my knee. But I wouldn't see there being anything else other than like, minnows in there.
Eat
Gotcha.
enough of them.
Okay, so you heard something behind you towards the creek, correct?
Yeah,
Go on
yeah,
from there.
walking through the brush, and then I heard rocks moving, like something was walking on them in the creek bed. And like I said, it was behind me. And I think the creek bed was about like 50 feet away from the tree I was in. And it stopped at the creek bed, and there was a pool of water there. It was one of those shallow pools. I heard it stop, and it sounded like it was drinking.
What do you assume this is when you hear it?
Well, at first, I kind of thought maybe it was a big deer, but I figured it was making a little bit too much noise to be a deer. And if it was a deer, I wouldn't have heard it, drinking the water. So I thought maybe it was like a person or something. I figured I was maybe getting ready to get busted.
Yeah. That would be weird too, though. Some guy just drinking from the stream was about to be like, "Hey, get out of the woods."
Well, I mean,
Okay.
Ohio is the third worst state in the country for heroin. So
Well,
I wouldn't put it past being a junkie.
Holy shit.
we're all pretty bad at this
All
point.
right.
I don't know.
I don't know. That statistic might be outdated at this point, but I know a couple years ago, at least, that was true.
All right. So what happened next? You heard him. You think it's a deer, not a deer.
Yeah,
So
I think it's either
do you see it at this point?
No, I didn't see it until it walked out of the creek bed onto the patch of land that I was on the tree in. And it walked past the tree, and it was moving slowly. And once it got within about 20 feet of the tree, that was when I could start to smell it. And, when people talk about Bigfoot, they always talk about the smell. They always say, oh, strong smell of sulfur, right?
Yeah, you hear things like sulfur, rotting garbage, wet dog. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's not what it smelled like to me. It just, to me, smelled like a dirty animal.
Could you compare it to something? Like did it smell like a dog that you haven't washed for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah, so something like that, not something offensive.
Yeah, nothing to make someone like gag or throw up right then and there, but
the theorizing with that sort of thing, there's a few different theories. Some people think that maybe they excrete something from a gland which smells because gorillas do that apparently, don't quote me on that. Mm-hmm. Then other people say it depends what they were feeding on, that they smell like garbage because they were eating garbage, or they smell like a dead animal because they were eating a dead animal.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is.
See, I'd never heard that before.
That's
actually really interesting.
Give me a description of the appearance. I think that's the most important thing, really. And it's the thing that really tells you the least, objectively, as a listener to the story. Yet it is the thing that I want to know the most.
Yeah, it's one of the most important aspects. Well, judging from where I was at in the tree, the scale I got, and I kind of scaled it off another nearby tree, it looked like it was about 8 feet tall, maybe 7.5. It had a conical shaped head. And it was covered in medium long, shaggy, dark brown hair.
Did the length vary of the hair?
It looked like it did. It looked like it was longer, on the torso than on the arms.
Okay, so it didn't have sometimes you'll hear hair hanging from the arms. They'll say, you'll hear that the body, and that's kind of the opposite of what I normally hear. Usually it's more along the lines of a standard great ape where the body has less hair. The face doesn't really have hair. But then the arms have the most of it.
Yeah. I didn't actually see its face. It didn't look at me. It stopped close to the tree I was in. Like I said, it was about 20 feet away when it stopped. And it stood there for a few seconds. And then it just kept going on its way.
Okay, so it doesn't seem like it was feeling fear. What were you feeling?
Oh, I was terrified.
What was your natural reaction? Just fucking stay still?
Yeah. I'd completely forgotten that I had my bow with me, and even then, I don't think a compound bow and 3 arrows would do, a lot of good against something that big.
Yeah, you'd think you'd need a large gun. Even a small gun probably wouldn't do the trick.
Yeah. And even then, you always hear, these things can move fast. It wouldn't take it but a few seconds to get to where I was at and probably rip the tree stand right off the tree.
God, that'd be something. That's how I want to die. Doing what I love. Shooting Bigfoot in the head with an arrow. Like it's Skyrim. Like he's a frost troll.
Yeah.
I just want a
Bigfoot just has to explain to the younger Sasquatches about, I used to be like you until I took an arrow to the knee.
God. So, okay, you said this was, what did you say, 7 to 8 feet tall?
Yeah, about 7.5 to 8 feet.
How thick was this motherfucker looking? Can you get what it looks like an estimate of I don't want to say weight, but I know that's getting kind of specific.
I couldn't really judge its weight, but if I had to guess, it was much bigger than me, and about that time, I was about 150 pounds. I'm just going to throw a wild guess out there and say it had to have been at least 400 pounds, because he was dummy thick.
Well, Brad, help me out here. We're talking 7 to 8 feet tall, and things got to have more mass than a human. So how big was Andre the Giant?
No, you just described 7 feet tall, more mass than the average human, and I'm just imagining the bitch from the new Resident Evil game, and I just started getting hard.
Woman,
so
I love her.
God damn it.
Big ass titties.
Back on point. I am asking about.
I have
Andre
a video
the Giant for a reason.
You'd like to show.
Nobody wants to see the video.
Well, speak for yourself. Doro.
I got you. I will.
Doro,
I got you.
Brad, Help me out here.
Yeah, so Andre the Giant was a work 7'4", a shoot 7 foot.
And how much did he weigh at his peak?
About five bills right there.
Okay. So we're talking about 5 hundo on Andre the Giant, he's like the most recognizable giant human being, I feel like, is why I'm bringing that up.
Yeah.
So if we're going to compare that to a filthy fucking animal in the woods, I gotta say, this thing, it was probably much bigger than 500 pounds. And you're probably right about it pulling the fucking tree stand right down and fucking raping your face until its cock springs out the back of your head.
Those bones gotta be fucking heavy in something that big and bulky.
Well, no doubt.
Yeah, you'd think it would have really dense bones.
Yeah.
You have ideas like, what is it? I think there's like the contrast between a robust jaw and a gracile jaw. I think like you see the robust jaw in great apes who have to like crack things open with their mouths, and you have the gracile jaw in humans who have, I think it's like they've given up their jaw strength or more brain mass or some shit like that. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
So given like you'd assume it would have a much stronger jaw, and you would apply that to the rest of the body too, probably.
Yeah. Well, you know, they say one of the things that they're believed to eat is, like, I think they said tree bark is one of the things you got to eat, like, that they eat sometimes.
They say lichen. What the fuck is lichen? Isn't that like a moss?
Moss.
Okay.
Moss.
Yeah, it's moss.
They theorized
Spanish moss.
I don't know about the tree bark. I don't know if you've ever heard that before. There's that classic video of the Bigfoot troop hunting the bison herd in Yellowstone.
Oh, and that was so sweet.
They got the camera like on Old Faithful or whatever, and there's just a fucking pack of giant brown human beings that walk out of the woods with spears. No jokes, boys. No jokes.
I remember that video.
Quality video.
Yeah, it's very interesting. That's an example of supposedly Bigfoot hunting in the winter because there's snow on the ground. How about this, Jake? Would you want to see it again?
Honestly, yeah.
That's the sort of thing I think to myself, like, what the greatest pleasures in life for me? What would I most want to experience? Like, what would make me happy, like, just before I die? If to me, top of that list is, like, seeing a dinosaur. But, like, just below that is, like, seeing Bigfoot. And then I'm ready to die. The dinosaur can eat me. Bigfoot can brain fuck me. I'm ready at that point because I've seen the greatest things there are to see in the world.
The true one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, anyways, and then, like, back to the encounter. When it walked away, to my left, it went from my right to my left. It went up a really steep hill, which was probably about another 50 feet to where the slope started picking up. It made it up that hill in just a few seconds flat. It didn't look like it was exerting any effort at all, and it was gone.
You're talking about a hill. Would you have been able to get up it, or would have been just like too much for you?
I probably would have been able to, but it would have taken some substantial effort.
That's
like,
another
I would
thing.
have had to have been grabbing onto trees to pull myself up.
Well, they say that's what Bigfoot does, is that he pushes himself off of trees. There's always the idea of like pumping arms and grabbing things in front of him as he moves through. Supposedly that's like part of the speed or whatever. There are also a lot of videos of Bigfoot traversing the like what looks like mountains from my eyes. There's a classic Todd Standing video where he's filming and this thing like runs up this fucking slope, and it's the same thing. There's a bunch of trees around, and it does look like the thing's grabbing onto the trees for momentum.
Todd Standing, that's the guy that supposedly caught the up close Bigfoot face on video.
Extremely controversial. I don't. Yeah, I'm very skeptical of him. What kind of a person can just do guided Bigfoot tours where they just see Bigfoot most of the time? Yeah, it just sounds like a fucking tourist trap.
Yeah,
but at the same
reminds
time,
me of those dudes from the Finding Bigfoot TV show.
Yeah, it's made for TV, and there have been TV things. There was a Survivor Man thing, and this is the weirdest part is all of these big names who will sign off on Todd Standing. So Les Stroud from Survivor Man, fucking Joe Rogan. These guys all say that they find Todd to be a I don't know if trustworthy dude, but they seem to trust him. They endorse him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where a lot of the sources for if you want to like see the videos of supposedly Bigfoot striding up these fucking ridiculous slopes, that stuff is out there. Is there any more to the story? Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I don't have a whole lot more to say, but there was another thing. And I didn't mention this when I initially reached out to you, but a few months after that, my buddies and I, we were sitting out in my driveway just bullshitting, and we heard vocalizations coming from the woods. So my buddy, he actually managed to get a video of these recordings, and he transferred them to a flash drive, and he still has it somewhere. And the whole problem is none of us have an actual computer. We're all just, on mobile. So we haven't been able to do anything with the audio footage, but you can hear the vocalizations clear as day.
Yeah, and send that my way, dude.
All right, I'll see what I can do about that.
Debo. Fantastic.
I'll see if I can have my buddy track down that flash drive.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Jake, for being with us tonight.
No problem. Glad to have been here.
And audience, chat, everyone out there, see you next time for more tales of abject horror and something.